All right, so Mr. Harvey, what is art in your opinion?
Um, I, uh, I, I think art is it's some sort of an expression of human feelings, ideas, or emotions through um, through some sort of task. Um,
Task?
uh, yeah,
Okay.
I mean, uh, I, geez, this is such a it's such a difficult question, and I've had lots of time to prepare, and still when faced with that question, I want to answer it differently every time. It's
Yeah.
um, the 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 thinker who's been the biggest influence on me and my ideas about what art is. I mean, I'm an artist, but I don't think that qualifies me to really know what art is. I'm a person who makes representations of the human form, and I inject my own thoughts and ideas and feelings, emotions into those forms, in hopes that they're going to resonate with other people, and hopefully prompt them to learn something through their own introspective explorations. But I I I had a bit of a hard time trying to rationalize the amount of time and energy that I was putting into this pursuit at one point a handful of years ago, and I found this book called "The Art Instinct" by Dennis Dutton,
Yes. Uh huh.
and um, and he's a philosopher who explored the idea of aesthetics from a Darwinian perspective, and it's um, he argues that art is an evolved concept that is universal to all people. Much the way that language is something that uh, springs up in every every human being around the globe. That kids aren't really taught to speak. We have to learn to read and write. That's a very modern thing, relatively speaking. But language is a universal. That's something that I think Steven Pinker has done a lot of work on that. Uh,
About
kind of just
language?
proving that that's a universal thing that just arises in human beings. So Dennis Dutton was trying to make the same sort of argument for art, and
Yes.
he uh, he in that book came up with um, a list of like 12 different criteria that art tends to have. And it was like a cluster criteria, I think he called it, which I think is quite useful for figuring out what might be art and what might not be. Um, and one thing that he argues is that people have a lot of fun arguing what is and is not art, trying to take these cases from the edges of the category, and like is the fountain by Duchamp, you know um, is that artwork? That's something that exists at the edge. That's uh, a lot of fun to explore from a philosophical perspective. But those cases on the edge don't really tell us what art is. They're not good examples that help us form a solid understanding of what art is. I want to say that art, art is something that you just, that you know it when you see it. That when you see something that has been, produced by another human being, that carries a certain amount of emotion, a certain amount of virtuosity, that communicates feelings, that inspires awe. Those things are not exclusive to art. There are other things that can do that too, but art tends to do most of those sorts of things. But I mean, yeah, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know, really, what it is that I'm, making as an artist. I have this, romantic idea that, there's certain things that we, that human beings are drawn to, that have, withstood the test of time. I make figurative sculpture because, we have all of these cool old, marble figures from, ancient Rome, and, maybe a few bronze ones left over from ancient Greece. And they are, fantastic objects that, people have been drawn to for a couple thousand years. It's like, something like that. Yeah. The fact that people still want to, spend some time looking at those things thousands of years later, that's totally amazing to me. I feel like, in that way, sculpture can be like that it can be like a time machine, that's that you can have a conversation and kind of, explore the humanity of another individual that, hammered into a piece of rock, or, modeled a piece of clay, thousands of years ago. It's a wonderful, tradition to be a part of. And I don't claim to really understand it, but I know that, that it's an important legacy, to leave for, for other people to be able to ponder their own humanity, and, to hopefully help them, make sense out of our human condition, for lack of a better term.